This is the Giraffes Don't Eat Steak podcast, a show that brings you marketing stories, tips, hints, and much more. A treat for those who want to succeed in business or marketers who just want to learn. Hello, Alex.
Hello.
And welcome, Pete, to our podcast today.
Thank you so much for having me.
So I think one of our first podcasts, probably episode 2 or 4, one of them was around networking. And even then we said, wow, we need a networking guru on our show. And so I'm so pleased because Pete Moles is one of the networking gurus that I know. And so Pete was so pleased that you could come and join us and just talk networking today.
I'm absolutely thrilled to be here. I feel honored to be here, to be honest. I'm new to the podcasting scene. I'm late to it, and did my first podcast maybe only a month ago, actually, but fell in love with it. I had so much fun that the moment that you mentioned it, I was like, yep, I'm in. Bring me in. I want to talk.
Great.
I talk all day, every day in my business. It's what I do for a living, so it makes perfect sense to be doing more of this sort of stuff. So I'm really happy to be here.
Natural progression.
Yeah, absolutely. And delighted to be here and hope I can shed a little bit of leave people with one or two gems.
Well, I think it's great to have you. I think Erica and I have similar but also different views on networking, and we have our strengths and weaknesses, the things we like and the things we don't like about networking. There's a whole mixed bag of feelings and emotions to talk about when it comes to networking.
Yeah, so there's lots to unpack. In fact, I was thinking, Pete, as to start you off, Alex is a resistant networker. So I also don't like it, but I go. Alex will not go. He will just refuse. But Alex, join in. You do agree that networking is an important part of your marketing strategy if that's where your target clients are, right?
I think it's almost essential.
But you can't. But you won't do it. So Alex, Pete, what are your tips for someone like Alex who just cannot cross?
Yeah, I've got the tip. Just send your business partner, Erica.
There you go. That is delegation is often a very, very good skill for people in business. And I think that there's an element of that makes a lot of sense, right? You should play to your strengths as a partnership in business. Do the things that you enjoy doing. And if you really don't like doing it, and you're in a really fortunate position, Alex, because some people, when you're starting out in business, some people don't have that choice. You've just kind of got to get out and do it. And I think the thing that makes networking so accessible for small, like when we talk about business owners, I think probably I'm talking about solo and micro business owners when they're starting out on their journey. I think it's useful because, and it's useful for a number of reasons. Number one, it's really cost effective. So in order to find a potential customer, marketing can actually be really quite expensive. But theoretically, when you're just getting going, actually, you could strike it lucky. And I've seen it a few times where people turn up to one networking event and they land a client. That doesn't happen very often, but I've seen it happen a number of times. To your point, Erica, around, what could you do to encourage people to do it? I think it depends on the reasons why. And if you are in solo land, like both of us have been for the last 5 years, being in business is lonely and it's tough. That's unquestionable. It's a statement of fact. And surrounding yourself with people who are on a similar journey is one of the best things that you can do early in your journey in business ownership or entrepreneurship. And
Yeah.
your situation is kind of unique because you've got each other, and actually, if we take it that it's probably one of the most cost-effective forms of marketing, especially in the early days, one of you has to do it. And it sounds like, Erica, you stepped up and you did it. And I literally remember the first time that you came to networking in, and I think it's safe to say that it wasn't your natural comfort zone. You were way outside your comfort zone. But here's the interesting thing, right? You're phenomenal at it now. Phenomenal at it. You can network with the best of them, and it might not be the place that you're most comfortable, but you are easily as competent as anyone else in the room at the skill of networking. But you don't get there by not doing it. You get there by putting yourself outside of your comfort zone and kind of walking towards it and embracing it and just trying and learning and practicing and getting better and failing and doing it again and getting better and better. And it's been an absolute joy, a privilege actually, to watch your journey over the last, what is it? It's 4 years probably, I suppose, something like that. I wasn't there.
I'm having a little tear moment, Pete.
It's been an absolute privilege to be able to witness it. And I'm fortunate to run a network that's full of really good egg business owners, really good, deserving business owners that are kind and considerate and respectful and non-salesy and all of that stuff. And I think we typically attract more introverts to our community than some other networks, I would say. So I'm blessed often to watch the journey of, some of those more introverted people who go through the process and learn along the way. So Alex, you should come to our network, mate, because it's a very safe space, is what I would say. It's a very
that sounds great. It sounds great. I think the networking that I've been less resistant to go to and I've enjoyed them is when it's an event, like a sports event, and we get taken there and with food and alcohol, and then I'm in the element.
You're much better at those than I am. Absolutely. I'm a little bit of a dodo when it comes to sport.
I think it's the structured part of things that gives me the eeks. I like, once I'm in the room with people and I'm talking to someone, I'm having a one-on-one conversation with someone, I think, I do pretty well. But it's the coming to a structured event that kind of turns me off, I guess.
Actually, that is the difference between us, because if there's no structure, I struggle. I need to know, okay, you're going to come in and then they're going to do this piece and then they're going to do that piece and then I'm okay. I've tried ones where it's sort of come in and free for all, and that's like, oh, where because actually when you do join me on networking, you're a hit. Everyone loves you, Alex. You're like, there's no issues, right? It's just me dragging you there. That's like the hard part. It's like, you have to do it. So I think that's the tip then, isn't it, for anyone listening, is you need to find the format that suits you, because there's different formats. There's so many different formats, as well as they don't all have nice people. And it's just the truth. The very first networking I went to, I won't mention what it was, but I'm sure you'll all guess. I hated it. Literally from the first second I walked through the door, it was horrific. Everyone was in suits, and I'm work mostly in insurance, so suits is my nature. But literally, this was a boardroom table of suits. No one greeted me when I came in. No, I just felt like an imposter from the beginning, and was in 10 minutes. I was like, "What am I doing here? I need to leave." And I did. No one kind of even bothered, so I could leave and run out. And it put me off networking for quite a while. But you have to. They're not all like that. And maybe that's your style. You can find nice ones where it's welcoming people, friendly people, and online only, if that works for you, or face to face. I think it's about, you got to try it. Do you agree, Pete?
Well, 100%. I think it's about finding your tribe.
Yeah.
And we can all benefit. We're pack animals at the end of the day. In the main, even the introverts, we need people, and we benefit greatly from having those shared experiences with others. So I think trying it is the answer. And you know, sometimes you won't get it right the first time. I'm pretty sure I know the community that you're talking about, and it baffles me why some networking organizations perhaps feel a little bit more cliquey than others. And you know, we've modeled what we do on trying to be fun and friendly and light-hearted and stuff like that. And if that works for you, then that's great. But if you do need more structure or less structure, then there's something out there for everyone. And I genuinely believe that, even to Alex's point, you know, even if it's networking down the pub, that's networking, right? Networking at the school gates, that's networking. There are many different ways that you can choose to take your networking. But I think ultimately, you know, you've got the old analogy, it's not what you know, it's who you know. And it's really true in life. You know, the more people you know, generally the easier your life gets. And the people that you know who, you know, are useful to know, the easier life gets.
Absolutely. The more every day of my working life, I learn that statement more and more and more. Is whenever everyone's busy, right? And people don't really have that much time to look and search for something that they need. If they already have something in their mind, someone they've already met, it's a kind of the trust, know, like statement as well. If you're already in their mind, you're going to be the first to be called, right?
100%.
Absolutely. Just because they know you can do it.
Yeah,
exactly.
I don't know whether you'll certainly know of Daniel Priestley.
Yeah.
There was a really, really good Diary of a CEO podcast with Daniel Priestley and Stephen Bartlett recently, where he was talking about the book Oversubscribed and the 7-11-4 formula for getting to that kind of trust point where you're the person that's in the inner circle. I don't know whether you guys listen to it, but I always come back to that Daniel Priestley. It's in his book Oversubscribed as well, and he says that those people that in order for someone to buy anything from you, they need to have experienced 7 hours of what it is that you do. So that might be 7 hours of Giraffes Don't Eat Steak. It might have been 7 hours in networking events. It might have been 7 hours of the best-selling book that Erica's about to launch. There could be lots of different ways for someone to consume 7 hours of what you do, but it's seldom true that people will buy from you without having 7 hours in their locker with you. The next thing is the 11, which is that 7 hours can't come in a oneer. So if someone reads Erica's book in a oneer, I don't know whether I necessarily agree with this, but they're less likely to buy from you. But his point is it needs to come over multiple different interactions. So 11 different episodes are likely to lead to a better result than someone kind of binging on all 11 episodes in one go. And the final point is the 4. And he says that those 4, the 4 is 4 separate locations, 4 separate locations. And if you think about the people that you went to school or college or uni with, those people that you spent more than 7 hours in their company, right? Because you were in a lecture hall with them and you spent way more than 7 hours together. You had lots more than 11 interactions together as well, because there were lots of times when you were in the same lecture hall. But the people who became your friends, the people who entered your kind of personal first or second circle, are the people that you didn't just go to school with. They're the ones that you went to the cafe with and to the bar with and to the nightclub with. The ones that you had more separate
shared experience
with, shared experiences. Exactly that, right? And so I think the overwhelming benefit of networking as a concept is it's a place, it's one of the places where you can meet people and build relationships. And it's never enough. The people that you meet at networking, and you just meet at networking, you come to networking, you see them, it's hi, nice to see you. They're never the ones that are going to be the ones that are going to form great strategic partnerships or buy from you. But if you have a one-to-one on the back of it, and then you arrange to go to do something else, go to another networking event, the ones, I don't know whether you
connect on LinkedIn.
Exactly, connect on LinkedIn. That's the obvious one, right? But you know, Erica, there will be times where you've been to a networking event, and once upon a time you were the only person that you knew, and then you went to a different networking event somewhere else, and you saw someone that you met somewhere else, and you might have only experienced a little hello and like very small talk, but you knew them. And now all of a sudden you're seeing them somewhere else. And all of a sudden you've got this stronger bond with this person. You've got more in common and you spend more time with that person. That's to me the real benefit of networking. The more that you can get out there, the more relationships that you can build, the higher, the more likely they are to follow you on LinkedIn and, you know, learn your story and all of that stuff.
I love that.
Yeah, that's brilliant. I love that. So it's more about trying to invest quality time and experiences with people to build better. I mean, that's quite a good mantra anyway for just general relationships in your life, be it your friends, partner, family, business potential. That's quite a good formula anyway for building good relationships.
100%, 100%. But you know, with the failure rate of business being what it is, the more you can stack the odds in your favor, better. And for me, networking is one of those core pillars that we should all be doing to a greater or lesser extent.
And as an example, Alex, you'll laugh at this. I actually shared it with Pete this morning. I went to a networking event last week. It was a breakfasty one, like 7:30, like very far away. But anyway, I did it. And I knew one person in the room because they're the one who invited me, didn't know anyone else. But as I was introducing myself, this guy said, "You're the marketing lady, right?" So I said, "Yes, I am." He said, "Yeah, a couple of years ago, I saw you at this network. You were wearing your pajamas." I think, and you remember that one networking I did it was a onesie, just for anyone listening. There was nothing slinky about it or anything. It was a full-on onesie. And I was doing a talk on first impressions and how quickly people make judgment calls based on just the first impression, and then how much harder it is to undo that, because they don't even know they've made that decision in their brains, right? So I wore the pajamas. Anyway, so that was funny. And we were just laughing about it because the opposite happened, right? So I was trying to give this story about first impressions don't work. You need to really think about it. But actually, me wearing my pajamas, I think off the back of that, I've got 3 or 4 clients over time. And here, 3-4 years later, somebody's like, "I remember you. You were the one in your pajamas."
That's brilliant.
So that's networking, right?
But can we just dwell on that for a second? I went to a networking event, and over the next 3 or 4 years, 3 of those people have become clients from one networking event. Okay, you might have seen them in other networking events.
Yeah.
That's the power of it.
In fact, one of our clients even said the words. He said, "The only reason I chose you is because you pitched up in your pajamas, and I thought you were different." That's what he said. So
in a field of black and white cows be purple.
Absolutely. Pitch up in your pajamas.
Disappointed to see you in normal clothes.
I know, right? I'm just gonna have to start wearing my hot onesie in this British summer, all to all my networkings going forward.
Yeah. I think it's a given that you have to do it for your talk at Networking In, right?
I will have to just pitch up in the onesie. Awesome. So one of the mistakes that I see people make is give up on networking because that sale doesn't happen at the first try, right? And it's a little bit of a balance because, okay, we joke that it does happen, and I've spoken about a client that I got, but most of the time you're going to put the work in, right? And it's about the relationships, not just pitch up and everyone will, if that happens, yay you, right? If you happen to have the thing that everyone really wants and needs at that point in time, yay you. What are your thoughts on that?
I think I've been hosting networking events for 6 years. So I've hosted hundreds of events over the last 6 years, and I've attended hundreds and hundreds and hundreds more over the last 20 odd years in business. And I think the amount of times where I've been in a place where someone's turned up on their first time, and I've been witness to someone going, "What do you do?" And they go, "Oh, I do this." And the person going, "Oh, that's exactly what I need. Let's do business together." It's definitely less than 5, but it's probably less than 3. So I think the reality is it's a slow burn. I wrote an ebook on 16 ways to network like a pro a few years ago, and one of the things that I say is you've got to be in it for the marathon. It is not a sprint. You know, to your point, you picked up 3 clients from that first networking event or that event that you went to in your pajamas, but the reality is I would hazard a guess that wasn't the only networking event that you went to. Over time, you will have gone to lots and lots and lots and lots, and you would have slowly built the relationship and planted seeds and poured water on it. And occasionally a client falls out and it's brilliant, but it doesn't happen as often as people hope it will, especially in those early days when they're just starting out and they go, I really need to make some money because I've just left this job and, there's loads of pressure, and they rock up and they try too hard and people smell self-interest and desperation. It never works. It never works. And they're the ones typically that 6 months down the line you see on LinkedIn that they've gone and got another job. You have to, it's not about making sales, it's about building relationships.
Yeah. Well, Pete, we see the same thing actually across all marketing streams with many different businesses who try something. They say, this is not working after 5 minutes of trying a certain strategy. And then they just stop and then try something else. And then again, they invest, but then they back off. They say, it's not working. I'm not getting any business immediately. It's everything takes time, takes effort. It's hard work. I mean, if it was easy, everyone would be millionaires doing it. And yeah, you have to not only invest time, you have to invest money, you have to invest stress and happiness and tears and laughter and everything, right? It's all one package. It comes together. You can't take one thing and not the others.
Yeah, 100%. And to quote the late great Jim Rohn, there are 2 keys to success in anything that any of us will ever do: discipline and consistency. Without discipline and without consistency, you won't get started and you won't finish. And to your point, Alex, I am definitely guilty of and Erica will attest to this. I'm definitely guilty of trying lots of stuff out. I have lots of ideas and we go, right, let's do it. And we invest a load of energy into it and then it doesn't work and we maybe pause on it. doesn't mean to say that it doesn't work. It just means that I'm not good enough to figure it out right now, because the things that we're trying have been proven by lots and lots of people to work. They're just better at it than me. So I don't say, I pause it because I don't want to waste any more money until I get better at doing it, and then I'll try again and I'll try again. I'll read a book, I'll speak to people. And I think that one of the biggest tips that I can give to any new networker, the really, really skilled networkers, the ones who are exceptional, they understand the importance of getting to the middle of the network. Make friends with the people at the middle of the network, because they've been doing it longer than you have, probably, and definitely within the context of the specific group that you're in. And they'll be able to coach, teach, train, advise to help you fast track, lots of mistakes and problems. And so that's one of the big ones for me, I would say.
And it's a bit like the kind of the basics of the law of attraction. I think, like, surround yourself with the people, the things, the environment where you want to be, not necessarily where you are. And you get there kind of via osmosis. You're taking everything in.
Amen.
But there's also a lot of psychology in this, right? So, Pete, I'm a firm believer in pain points, right? And there's a nail in the foot pain point, which is I need help now, and then the pebble in the shoe pain point, which is, yeah, I'll get there. Now, most of networking, you're meeting people with pebbles. Okay, they don't have nails. And so that's why you're not making that instant sale. But when that pebble becomes a nail, you want them to remember you. Hence the power of just getting your name out there, consistent, pitching up, saying hi, repeating your message, repeating your. I had a chat to someone this morning about, if I'm saying, the same 60 seconds intro over and over and over, isn't everyone bored of hearing it? It's 60 seconds of their life, really. It's fine. And you can twist it a bit, try different things, use the space to get comfortable. Like, doesn't matter, but you want them to keep hearing your message so that when they have the nail, that's the moment they're going, oh, wait, Erica does marketing, right? Like, that's what you want. And if you don't do that, if you just pitch up once and then disappear, guess what? Someone else is going to take that spot. Somebody else's name is going to be the one they remember.
100%.
But it all comes down, and I learned this from you, Pete, is you have to know who your target client is. Because if you're at this networking and people are saying, hey, I want to refer you, because this is part of it's not just making connections with the people there, it's getting them to refer people to you. So it's a double whammy layer, right? And the same with LinkedIn, right? You're not only interested in your connections, you're interested in their connections. So, but in order to do that, in order to say, hey, Pete, I'm looking, please refer me, I have to be able to explain to you who I'm after. And so understanding the kind of client you want to work with is so important, right?
100%. 100%. And do you know what? I'm absolutely flattered that you said you got it from me, but you definitely didn't. That's
did.
That's me. I learn way more about marketing from you than you do from me, lady. So but thank you for saying it. I'll take it and throw it back over the fence and say thank you. But it's a fundamental, right? It's at the it's a BTEC level of marketing, not a degree or A-level marketing. Yeah. It's the fundamentals. Understand who your target market is. And so many business owners just don't understand actually who it is that they're going after. And I think a lot of it comes down to the imposter syndrome that lives and breathes within most of us on the planet.
Yeah.
I speak to really, really smart people with great backstories and great businesses, and in my role as a business coach, the amount of people who literally don't understand that very basic thing, I would hazard a guess, and I don't know the stats on it, but I would hazard a guess that close to 80% of businesses don't really clearly know their target market. And I'll bow to your
I would
superior knowledge on that,
I would
because
absolutely agree with that. But I think there's another reason outside of the sort of imposter syndrome is that I think we all do it. And even though, for example, me and Eric have been working in marketing for a long time, and we call each other out on this quite a lot as well. We put so much of our own personal bias into the decisions that we make. It doesn't matter what it is, but if we're talking about target client, we look at our product, and it doesn't matter if it's the product that we've developed ourselves or we're working for another company who has a product. We look at it from our perspective. How is it solving my problems? That doesn't really matter. That doesn't matter at all. You're going down the completely wrong avenue by doing that. And it's just a perfectly natural thing to do. I mean, we're looking at the world through our own eyes, not anybody else's. So everything we do is based on our own experiences and knowledge that we've had from the past. It's that is a skill in itself. And I think that's kind of what makes great marketers, business owners, entrepreneurs, is when they have the kind of empathy to be able to put themselves in somebody else's shoes, and also understand and listen to people, and go and use the right tools to gather information and research, and use that to build a objective perception of what is really going on.
And it's not even just business owners. I'm seeing it with salespeople generally. Even if you're a salesperson working for a massive organization, you need to understand who is the person who wants this product I'm selling, right? So anyone who's doing any marketing or sales, it has to start at that fundamental: is who is this person that I'm after? And then all the rest will flow. But a lot of salespeople are hired in organizations. They get taught the product. Right? This is the product. Go sell it.
Yeah.
It's missing a gap. There's a whole thing missing, because then they're like, oh, I'm a bad salesperson, I sold nothing. Oh, well, where were you fishing? Were you fishing where the right people are? Were you doing the right stuff? So it's such a fundamental.
Do you know,
I'm working on it just reminded, because I'm working on an interesting, well, actually, it's a little bit boring, but the concept of it is interesting, but the actual project's not interesting. But the concept is, so we're working on a really big market research project, and we have this. It's designed for one person working in the company that's contracted us to do it. So the engineers and the researchers in the company that I'm working for doing that, they're gathering all the information around this topic, and it's a huge amount of data. I'm talking, we've got a 300-page document that they put together, and they're supposed to just be giving it to the client. And I saw it, and I thought, wow, you're going to kill this person. They're going to have death by document. And so, I was just asking the question, like, what is it that they're looking for? What is it that they're interested in really knowing? And the most important, let's kind of put ourselves in their shoes and understand, when they get this document, what are they hoping to look for, And let's take those out, put it at the front, create a very nice little summary. We can even have little clicks so it can go down to more detail or whatever, but don't make them work for it. Just give them what they want and what they need. And it makes your life much easier when it comes to retaining that customer, keeping them happy, presenting the work. It's way less work than the actual research itself. Just take a moment to think about what they want, what they need.
Yeah. It's rule 101, isn't it, of marketing?
Yeah, it comes in you can apply it to many parts of the business, not necessarily just selling. And that was kind of my point. It can be even just on an ongoing work delivery purpose as well.
I'm so frustrated. I did this course, I'm always studying, right? So I'm studying sustainability at the moment. So it was the 6-month course through Cambridge, fantastic. It was really hard. I had to do assignments every week and whatever, but I did it. And then they've gone silent. It's all finished. So I email going, hey, just following up about, I've passed all my assignments. When am I getting my certificate? Their reply is, you need to keep logging into the website to see if it's there. It will be between 6 and 8 weeks. We can't tell you when. Really? Really? You can't even just automate an email going, Erica, your certificate is ready. There's so many tools that can make that whole process easier. The answer to me is, you have to log in every single day and check just in case it arrives.
Yeah.
Like,
It speaks to the whole Vinay Palmer thing this morning, right?
yeah, exactly.
Customer experience. And, I wonder whether you'll go back to the University of Cambridge to do another course on the back of it. And it's just so simple, isn't it? It's like,
So
how can
simple.
we humanize this interaction to make it simple for the person? So,
well, I've just been going through a horrible experience with my visa situation in Colombia. I won't go through the rest of it, but I'll just go through the most recent one because the rest of it is just absolutely dire. But I finally managed to get there, and I finally managed to register myself with a visa, blah blah blah, and get my photo done and everything like that. And then I said, when can I pick it up? They said, oh, like next month. Well, will you tell me? Will I get an email? No, I just need to come to the office. Oh, I need to come to the office where I live. I live nowhere near, and just randomly come in and see it. Surely, when the person's printed it, they can go, Mr. Bilney, it's ready. No, and it's just awful. And that happens in many, many, many different businesses and aspects. But yeah, that was dreadful.
So that's one of the worst things about technology, right? That we are all now so used to the fact that things should be automated because we've seen it for years. This new technology has come in and things have got simpler and simpler and simpler. And now you order something and you get an immediate text and there's an email, and the companies that do it well, they've won the world because they've done it well. But what they've done is they've set the expectation for everyone else to live up to. And not everyone's got the money to be able to do that, like the government of Colombia, clearly, or probably HMRC, or,
they've got money, they just put it into their own pockets. So.
Well, yeah, but that's a different story.
But send an email. How hard is that? How hard is that? Like, literally, you can pay a student minimum wage to be sitting there as the printer thing comes out, send an email to Alex saying it's here. Like, you don't have to be fully automated. You can, but just keep the customer in mind, right? Like,
it costs them an extra 50 pesos per passport to employ that person to do it. That shows my ignorance,
sure.
right? Because I don't know whether it's pesos in Colombia. So
it is.
Oh yes.
Oh, well
Win.
Well.
But actually, Alex would happily pay those 50 pesos. Like, if you said to him, would you pay extra 100 pesos for us to send you the email, and you score the extra 50? Are you listening, Colombian government? We're making you some money here. He would do it. You would pay the 100 and let them score the 50 if it meant you didn't have to go in and check, right? Yeah. So come on, there's ways to do
paid many pesos already to get the damn visa.
So you'll pay another, right?
Yeah, no, exactly.
Anyway, we could talk all day.
I do have one question though for Pete, and just circling back to networking.
Going back to networking.
yeah, and I think this I guess this applies to many people because it applies to me, and I think it applies to Erica as well. I mean, Erica's now quite an expert in networking, but certainly in the beginning, I think when we think about going to these events and having to present our baby as it is for the business, not only that, and just also your personal character is on show. The the vulnerability you feel, the exposure you feel in front of people that you have no idea is completely different to doing a Facebook ad, for example. And you're doing it in person with all these strange people who, in your mind, have been doing it for years, and they know, and it's really comfortable for them, and it's like a breeze. That's not what you see. That's my perception of it. I'm like, oh, these guys, they know what they're doing. They've been doing it for ages, and I'm new, and I feel really scared and vulnerable and exposed. What would you say to somebody who has that feeling, and that's the reason that they haven't stepped up to even try one networking event?
Well, I think coming back to what we talked about earlier on, right? The good things happen on the other side of your comfort zone, and it will never be as scary as it is in your head. False expectations appearing real. What you will usually encounter is friendly, supportive, encouraging people who have all been there at some point. And I think, speaking to the place that you choose to go first, Erica was burnt, right? Erica went to a place where she didn't feel supported and encouraged, and that burnt her. And so don't go to places like that. And if you don't know where those places are, speak to people who have got a little bit more experience. Ask someone who does it, where they go, where they would recommend. I think my personal, for those people who are really feeling like that, I would suggest that they're more on the introvert scale than the extrovert scale. In my experience, online is easier for introverts. Way easier. It is a much safer space because we're also used to just having these kind of conversations now. It's not that much more scary to have a conversation with 3 people as it is to say something on a screen in front of a few more people. So I would encourage them to look online. I would encourage them to spend a little bit of time speaking to some people, reaching out to some people who go to the network. That's a golden piece of advice, right? Because when you go on your own for the first time, you know no one. When you research a few of the regulars and you see from LinkedIn that Erica's going to this event and this event and this event, and you know Erica, but you feel like you're not brave enough to go, speak to Erica and say, hey, Erica, I'm feeling these things, but I feel like it would be a good thing to do. We all know an Erica, right? All of us in business know someone like Erica, or like Steve or Matthew or whoever else it is that is empathetic, understanding, potentially a little bit more on the introvert scale, if that's where you're playing and that's what's holding you back. Speak to those people who have got over the hurdle and go with them, so you're not going on your own. You've got someone in the room who's got your back, who's your cheerleader, who's your support. I think that is so underrated, and so few people do it. It baffles me that we don't get more people turning up saying, oh, I'm a friend of Fiona. Fiona encouraged me to come because it's my first time networking. I don't understand why that doesn't happen more. Like people who are feeling that way just should research the regulars, figure out who's going, make a friend, and it will make everything a little bit easier.
Yeah, I've got 2. So I'm an introvert, and so I've got 2 tips for networking when I go. The first is if I can grab a friend to go with me, that's a win. Even if it's a friend who's never been before. So yes, a winner is if it's someone who's already in the network. But otherwise, take another friend, right? Like just don't go by yourself, go with someone else. If that's not possible, which it always isn't, my wingman lives in Colombia, so not always available. But I find if you walk into the room, you'll find another lonely soul standing somewhere. Now, it doesn't work on Zoom, but if you're in the face-to-face, that's I scan, and maybe it's my bodyguard's tools coming out. But as soon as I scan, and I'll find someone else who's standing by themselves, and I'll make a beeline. And then I've got I'll make my intro, and then there's two of you, and already the world becomes a different place. And so those are my two survival skills: is either take someone with you, or scan the room, and first step, hook yourself up with somebody,
Yeah.
and then you've got a friend.
And I think, just to add to that, a perfect script, an absolutely perfect script to break the ice, is to have a little smile, look them in the eye, put your hand out and say, "It's my first time, can I talk to you?"
Oh,
Works
that's
every
nice.
time.
Like, who's gonna turn around and say, "Oh no"? That it gives you an instant in, and it gives you instant empathy, instant warmth, and they'll either go, "Mine too," and then you're in it together, or there'll be an old hat in the room and they will make you feel welcome, just with that
Yeah.
little bit of vulnerability at the beginning.
Yeah, I like that a lot. That's a really nice point. Eric, have you ever taken your dogs?
No, not yet. They're not people friendly yet.
Okay.
But we have been talking for almost an hour, guys. So I'm
Yeah.
going to call this to a close. Pete, what an absolute pleasure to have you on our show.
I've
Do
loved
you
it.
want to just round up with where people can find you? Like, what do you want to share about how people can get in touch?
That is really kind of you. So the easiest way to find me is on LinkedIn. I'm a friend of Erica's. So if you go and search, if you're friends with Erica, then you'll be able to find me. My surname is very unusual, Mols. It's Dutch. There's only one Peter Mols on LinkedIn. And I'm the one that says head cheerleader. And yeah, look, I run a network. I run an online network which is full of really lovely, friendly, good egg sorts of business owners. We're not sharky in any way, shape, or form. It's very easy out, easy in, easy out. You can come a few times as our guest without having to pay, and practice and get better. If you do decide that you want to come more regularly, it's a tenner a time. So really easy in, easy out. And we'd love to welcome some more people to our community. So yeah,
Fantastic.
and the community is called Networking In. Yeah, you can find, just ask me on LinkedIn if you want any more information.
Or
So-
ask me. I'm a member of Networking, and I love it.
There you go.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Pete. Alex, a pleasure as always.
Guys, thank you so much for having me. I've loved it.
Oh, that's awesome. I love talking to you.
See you soon.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.
That wraps up this episode of Giraffes Don't Eat Steak. Thanks for joining us. I hope you found value in our discussion and got some new ideas to apply to your own business. Tune in next week for another round of marketing insights and inspiration. If you enjoyed this episode, please leave us a review and subscribe on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you listen to podcasts. We appreciate you listening. Catch you next time on Giraffes Don't Eat Steak.